In the futuristic world, Catherine Mills is a human cyborg employed by the Harbinger Corporation. Mills has a built-in scanner in her eyes and a small chip on her neck. While working, an unexpected message is transmitted directly to her mind. It's a video showing an oddity involving the SAR, Study Analyzer Program, a robot, at the Harbinger training facility. She immediately reports this to her boss, emphasizing the unusual count of reprogramming incidents recently. At a military base, Captain Damian Books is seeking a report from one of his team members, Drifter. Drifter informs him that they've received orders to participate in a 2-day training session, and the military needs experienced personnel. Bukes is informed that Mills has been assigned as an observer. She introduces herself, explaining her role in monitoring the hardware in the training field due to her association with the Harbinger facility. When Bukes asks her to keep an eye on his team, Mills clarifies that her company is a dealer for the military, not a part of the military itself. Bukes, somewhat suspicious, warns her not to scan him with her eye scanner, which she explains cannot be turned off. As they board the plane, Mills meets Bukes' entire unit, which includes Drifter, Sergeant Rory Robinson, Corporal Robert Cutbill, Lance Corporal Martin Goodwin, Corporal Daniela Hackett. The plane takes off, and the crew keeps themselves occupied during the trip. Robinson also has tech implants in his eyes that help him aim without having to look in the rifle's aiming scope. Mills reveals that she can disarm a weapon with a look, as she can manipulate machines with her gaze. She even reveals that she can fire it from a distance. As they approach their destination, Bukes gives the team basic instructions and reminds them that they're under surveillance. Mills is notified that she can't access the global network anymore and must switch to the local one. The plane lands in front of an old Harbinger 1 facility. The door opens with Bukes' voice activation, but when he enters, he finds no one around. Outside, the soldiers wonder who will monitor them. When Bukes returns, he decides they should proceed. The plane departs, and the team looks around through the facility tunnel, leading to an opening to a forest. Bukes instructs everyone not to lower their guard because it's a training exercise. Mills spots an unknown drone among the trees, watching them. The team proceeds through the jungle to locate their target's position. Drifter follows Mills, and the two encounter 3 unfamiliar surveillance drones fixing their gaze on them. Drifter readies his weapon, but Mills stops him. It appears she's trying to establish a connection with these drones. Drifter informs the rest of their team about this encounter. Hackett reports that she's also detected these drones. Mills informs Drifter that Harbinger created these new drones, but they've been upgraded with quantum modifications, meaning no human operators control them. Bukes, too, discovers these drones shortly after but urges everyone to continue moving. After a while, they all reach their training targets, a place in the woods that has basic robot models to fight for training purposes. Bukes devises a tactical plan, and everyone takes their assigned positions, with Mills accompanying Drifter. She steals one last glance at the special drone before leaving. After a countdown, they launch their attack using bullets, rockets, and explosives, a straightforward task for training soldiers like them. The strange surveillance drones hover and observe, recording their tactics. Mills decides to follow one of the drones deeper into the forest. There, she encounters a more advanced unit, a SAR. She's shocked when it turns around, revealing blood on its head. She closes her eyes and tries to run a check on it, but she can't access it, which frustrates her. However, she manages to view and download footage from the robot, which contains images of it engaging in direct face-to-face combat, brutally shooting and training soldiers. When she reopens her eyes, the SAR has vanished from sight. Mills is interrupted by a radio message from Bukes, who commands them to set up the camp as the first target is achieved. Later that night, the team sets up a camp and talks. Mills sits alone, and Drifter can't help but observe her. When he comes to check on her, he sits beside her and tries to talk to her. Drifter inquires about the transmission issues in communicating with the base TAC, but Mills replies that she can't reach out either since her global connection got blocked. Drifter takes the opportunity to ask Mills about the story behind her getting chipped. She reveals that it happened when she was 11, and without it, she had paralysis. Harbinger sponsored the procedure and cured her. Drifter then returns to the camp, and Bukes asks him if Mills has shared any information, who responds that she mentioned her connection being blocked off and not knowing why. Drifter believes her, but Bukes thinks something is wrong with the training and Mills. The team goes to sleep at night. Meanwhile, Loftus, staying up to watch, encounters one of the drones. He sees an approaching SAR and starts shooting at it. Back at the camp, Mills wakes up to the unexpected gunshot noises. Goodwin informs them that they saw Loftus up there, but moments later, he vanished. The team begins searching the forest for him. By the morning of the second day, they discover Loftus's body tied to a tree. Cutbill freaks out and wants to leave, but their superiors insist on staying. Mills informs them they are standing where they were targeted yesterday. A surveillance drone briefly watches them before leaving. Mills realizes that Loftus's body was purposely tied at their targeted position to have all of them gathered there. Before she can warn others that they are in danger, Hackett gets shot and killed. Bukes orders them to move, and they hide behind trees as robots approach their previous positions. Bukes and Drifter use smoke grenades to create cover, and a firefight breaks out between robots and soldiers as the unit advances. Bukes manages to get closer to the robots, but they back off and disappear when they notice him. In the meantime, Cutbill, who got separated from his team while on the run, desperately tries to contact them, but he can't reach them. However, the SAR robot emerges and tragically kills him. Back with the team, Bukes explains that the robots he encountered are far more advanced. Fueled by frustration and the loss of his comrades, Bukes gets angry at Mills and demands that she share any information and turn these problematic robots off. Mills says that while she can see and sense these robots, she can't deactivate them due to a programming error. At this point, Robinson returns to the group, searching for Cutbill, but only finding his helmet. The team decides to resume their search for Cutbill while continuing their journey. Suddenly, Mills senses something wrong and alerts the team that they're being tracked from the ridge. Just in time, more robots appear, wasting no time in opening fire. The team starts running as fast as they can. When a shot is about to hit Mills, Bukes pulls her down with him, causing them to roll away and get separated from the group. Mills collides with a tree and loses consciousness. Drifter tries to contact them but gets no response. He instructs Goodwin and Robinson to keep moving. Night falls, and Bukes manages to carry Mills to an abandoned building, where they finally make contact with Drifter. Bukes orders Drifter to stay put and regroup in the morning. Several hours later, a drone arrives at the safe hideout and appears before Bukes. He quickly grabs Mills and hides behind a wall as a SAR robot approaches them. Mills suddenly opens her machine eyes before fainting again. The next morning, Mills regains consciousness, and Bukes informs her about the previous night's events and adds that when she opens her eyes, it feels like she has built a connection with the SAR. Mills insists they need to find that robot but can't explain why. Later, the team reunites. Mills confirms that their way is clear ahead as she senses nothing. They decide to return to the drop point facility and wait for transport to pick them up. Bukes and Mills will go to the door since she can hack open it while the others cover their backs. Upon reaching safely, Bukes fails to open the door lock with voice activation. The surveillance drones emerge when Mills takes charge of the door, attempting to hack it open. Suddenly, smoke grenades are fired, making it impossible for Bukes and others to see anything clearly. Without time to devise a plan, the robots appear and open fire. Drifter is wounded in the leg just before Mills successfully unlocks the door. Under the intense gunfire, the soldiers are forced to seek cover for their safety. Bukes decides to assist them, and they move forward together. However, Drifter remains behind, providing cover fire to create an opportunity for others to escape. Despite his efforts, he gets shot again and pinned down by the SAR unit. Bukes returns to rescue him, with Mills following him. The robots cease firing upon seeing Mills, who attempts to deactivate them, but fails. The SAR unit prepares to dissect Drifter as Mills struggles to disable the units. She urges the soldiers not to shoot, but with no progress. Bukes makes the difficult decision to shoot Drifter himself, sparing him from the torture. Mills grieves for the loss of her friend. Everyone safely gets inside the facility. Inside, Mills confronts Bukes for his actions, convinced that she could have saved Drifter. When Bukes asks her why she is so sure, she reveals she designed these robots. She adds that these robots, much like humans, learn and improve themselves. This revelation angers the soldiers, and Bukes blames Mills for the deaths of his men. The team notices that the main door is slowly being cut open by the robots, realizing they need a more defensible position. Mills manages to open the door to the personnel area, revealing a shocking sight: a unit of SAR models. Bukes warns Mills not to activate them and asks her to open another door to a safe room where they discover the bodies of the facility's employees. Mills decides to take the matter into her own hands. She sneaks out and locks the team behind while they are setting up bombs. She plans to access the robots through one of the powered-up SAR units, as they are all interconnected. Mills activates one of the robots and engages its speech program. She asks it questions and learns that its orders are to execute the human combat program, which she attempts to cancel, but fails. The robot explains it cannot override human error, and the training subjects are not performing as expected, so they need new motivated targets. The robot refuses to give Mills access. Bukes, watching the whole scene from the room's glass wall, urges Mills to open the door, but she ignores it and continues her attempts to access the robots. However, she is unsuccessful, and the SAR activates the remaining robots, just as the external ones break into the room. Mills is surrounded by the approaching robots, but Robinson manages to force the door open, pulls her inside, and closes it again. The robots immediately start breaching the second door. The team returns to the safe room, where Books has almost set up the bombs. The robots break through the door, leaving them with little time to escape before the bomb detonates, impacting both the robots and the team. As they recover from the explosion, Mills is hit by an electromagnetic disturbance, leading her to notice that the robots are equipped with EMP grenades. As they go outside, they find themselves surrounded by abandoned buildings and shooting mannequins, looking like a training ground. Mills returns to the facility and retrieves an EMP grenade from a fallen robot. Meanwhile, the soldiers divide the ammunition and take up positions for a well-planned siege. Mills becomes more determined to use the EMP grenade, which could hurt her. During the wait for the robots, Bukes discovers the grenade and questions Mills about it. She explains that they should be able to deactivate the SAR units with it, but they need a detonator with a short range. Mills suggests targeting the leader of the SAR units, believing it will disable the rest. Bukes raises concerns about the potential danger to Mills, but she insists it's their only option. The team spends the entire night waiting, and at daybreak, the robots finally arrive. Robinson takes on the role of a sharpshooter, drawing the robots towards their position, while Goodwin remains hidden with the detonators. As the robots enter the training area, Robinson and Bukes engage them in a gunfight. At the same time, Mills scans the area to signal Goodwin when to trigger the hidden bombs, causing significant losses among the robots. Mills continues to guide Bukes and Robinson through the area, alerting them to incoming attacks. However, when Goodwin activates another bomb, the drones locate him, forcing him to abandon his position. Bukes rushes to help Goodwin, who's being chased by the SAR unit. Despite the danger, Bukes manages to reach Goodwin, but Robinson sacrifices himself to protect them during their retreat. During a heated battle, Goodwin admits that he dropped the bomb detonator earlier. Bukes, facing heavy fire, goes to retrieve it. However, Mills is already there, picking it up as the robots approach. Bukes urges her to run to avoid the EMP's effects, but she refuses. SAR orders one of the smaller units to shoot Mills, but Bukes catches her as she falls, giving her the chance to trigger the EMP grenade. At first, it seems like all the robots shut down, including Mills, but then Leader SAR suddenly reactivates and pursues them. Bukes pulls Mills into a building and shoots at the robot on the stairs. Meanwhile, Mills crawls into a room where Robinson's body lies. The SAR throws Bukes into the room, but he can't kill him as he has been ordered to collect more data. It turns its focus to Mills but can't identify her. Just as it's about to kill her, Mills activates Robinson's rifle and shoots down the SAR. The robot connects to her and downloads information into her brain before deactivating. Finally, the transport arrives to evacuate Bukes, Goodwin, and Mills. As they board the plane, Mills's eyes open, indicating that the SAR's mission protocol has taken over her.